Hey, I'm getting a little cash as I want to, but good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are. Good evening, depending on where you are. I want to start off today by first off thanking God that my friend was found safe. And also want to uplift the family of Jake Blake. I kind of want to talk about today why marching has allowed us to kind of march right in place or sort of maintain a level of stagnancy. And I just want to start off with this thought, right? We always learn about the marches in the 60s with Martin Luther King, but what they never told us, what they forgot to put in history books, was that there was probably mad other fucking marches from mad other fucking people. So now we're kind of using this outdated strategy that didn't necessarily work at that point, and it's not necessarily working now. And it's because, like, we might be focused on the wrong thing. I think a lot of people now, their goal with marching is to show that they support Black life or the movement for Black life, or equity or equality. But the truth is, like, if you really think about that, it has not done much. And it's not a bad thing that people march. It's just it wasn't working at that point, and it probably won't work now. It hasn't been working now. The reason why we're in the same place that we're in, as we were in 2 months ago, as we were in years ago, 50 years ago, hundreds of years ago, we gotta stop using this tired method. Like, I remember, so for example, during the George Floyd marches, right? Ooh, that's smelly. During the George Floyd marches, right? I was in Boston. I went to a march, and it was cool to see like thousands and thousands, maybe more, of people marching. And mind you, this was going on for days in Boston, days in New York. You know what I'm saying? And I just think, like, say we had like 200,000 people, for example, march, right? We did a die-in in the street, we laid down, we blocked off traffic. What if we shifted some of those tactics and those techniques to things that could offer us up some more effective and immediate change, right? Like, what if we had, like, say we had 200,000 people, right? What if we had 100,000 people like donate $1 to a Black business? That business is now $100,000 wealthier and can sort of do things that will have them on a level playing field in the market. And so that's the issue too. Like, everybody thinks that Black Lives Mattering is about, oh, I don't want you to kill you. I don't want people to kill you. I don't want people to think it's okay for you to die, but it's bigger than that. Like, there's other ways that you can destroy Black people, and then they have, you know what I'm saying? It's been going on. And business is one of the ways, right? Another way is education. What if there was $100,000 donated to a new school that was being built? You know what I mean? Like, how much more effective could that be, so that we could change, like, some of the structures that are in place, right? And education, it might seem like you know, what the fuck are you talking about? Just go to school. But like, everybody looking at this, white, black, Asian, anybody, we've all been indoctrinated by the same school system, right? We could say, oh, quote unquote, some people went to better schools than others, but if it's all fucking oppression, or how to oppress a certain group of people or certain groups of people, then yeah, some schools might be better at that. That's okay. Well, it's not okay, but yeah, some schools might be better at that. But you have to understand, like, that's the level at which you've been indoctrinated. So a better school might actually be the school that, you know, didn't necessarily have a lot of students of color. Didn't have a lot of black kids. And even the view of the demographic alone can show you, like, what they're trying to prepare you for. What they think success really looks like. And that is exclusive of black people. Exclusive of a lot of Latinx people and a lot of indigenous people, for sure. And that's what we all have to understand. Like, or a lot of these companies came out and wrote a message and was just like, yo, this is fucked up, we stand with Black Lives Matter. Okay, cool. But are you giving, like, black people discounts on things? Are you giving them free products? Are you giving them free services, free resources? Like I saw this thing one time where they said Boston was the only city where they could gentrify your own. You could gentrify your own. They could gentrify your own neighborhood and then put a Black Lives Matter sign in the window. And I thought that was one of the most powerful fucking memes in the world, because dead ass. And I don't even wanna blame people for I guess quote unquote trying to do the right thing, but it shows, it's indicative of the level of disconnect that we have in this country, that we have in our major cities, right? You got a Black Lives Matter sign in your window where you live at, and you know what I'm saying? Like, some people had to move out of this apartment for you to live here, for you to afford it. This might be affordable for you, but extremely unaffordable for the family that got kicked out. And it's just things like that. Are you willing to give up your apartment? Are you willing to give up some of your space, your resources? It doesn't necessarily have to be a march. And then, because you're marching, at some point you like, yo, you know what? I'm fucking tired. I gotta sit down. The world doesn't seem like it's upset anymore, so maybe I'm cool too. Maybe I could chill out. And some people won't necessarily just say, oh, I'm tired. And some people will. Like, I know black people who, as soon as they see shit like this, they're just like, yo, I'm motherfucking tired. We just been tired. Dead ass. We born into this world fucking yawning. It's terrible. Because so much shit is going on before we even get here. So yeah, we marching. We get tired. Like, June was cute. We marched. Juneteenth came. A bunch of companies said that Juneteenth was a holiday, which, if you think about it, is kind of fucked up, because if you don't have a company full of black employees, that does not need to be a day that everybody takes off, right? Because y'all wasn't enslaved, you know what I'm saying? Y'all wasn't enslaved. Like, if your ancestors weren't captees or slaves, you shouldn't have to take that day off. And I'm realizing that I feel the same exact way about MLK Day. Like, that should not be a day off for everybody. Martin Luther King was assassinated because he was saying that, yo, some of this shit is really fucked up, and I really would like if we could have some equity. You know what I'm saying? I don't want people to just judge me because I'm black. I just want to be able to have the same opportunities. And they assassinated him. They assassinated him for saying that, not for going out killing people, saying that you should go kill white people. None of that. He just said, yo, can we live here too. We've been here. Our ancestors were dragged here. We deserve to get an equal piece of the pie. We deserve to fucking vote, to live in neighborhoods that, like, we're not even saying, you know, we need to be all up in your shit, but can we get some equality? Or the shit that y'all said was equal is not actually equal. Can we get some equality? That's it. If y'all want us to leave you alone, what's up? No problem. But so give us some of this. He was assassinated for that. Assassinated. Shot in the face. And he didn't die because that man is powerful. He didn't die there. He was then suffocated. Dead ass. Most people don't know that. I found that out either this year or last year. He was suffocated. And so the first person, you know, a lot of racists or people who don't, you know, really study anti-racism, that's the first person they mention is Martin Luther King. And people fail to realize, like, Martin Luther King was also assassinated. You should be like Martin Luther King. He wasn't marching. He wasn't doing all. Yes, the fuck he was. He was doing all of this. And a lot of people didn't like him while he was alive. It's only now 30 years later. I'm sorry. 50, 60 years later, we can look back and appreciate what he did. But while it was happening, people were freaking the fuck out. Think about your local organizer. You know what I'm saying? How do you support them? But yeah, so I mean, he did the march, and they've been marching since the 60s, and it wasn't only the big ass march on Washington. Think about all the people they fucking killed during the 60s, 70s, 80s, and there's all marches for them, and that all has been left out of our textbook. So this is an activity that is just not going to suffice. How are you supporting black businesses every day? How are you helping to build black businesses every day? And if you don't want to give money, how can you give support? Some people are just like, you know, all these companies are like Black Lives Matter, but y'all are a fucking $100 million company or $1 billion company. Send bread. If you don't want to send bread, send fucking classes. Teach us how to get the bag. Or else shut the fuck up, kind of. Like, because what are you talking about? What are you really talking about? If you a $1 billion company and you talking about Black Lives Matter, and you know, like, a lot of neighborhoods, cities are poorest of the poor, filled with brilliant minds, but lack of access to capital, what organizations are you building? How are you going out to make sure you're recruiting these types of people? You know what I'm saying? Netflix, for example, not even mad companies, just gave mad money to Black Lives Matter. And that's dope, right? But who else and what else? And how else? Right? We don't know necessarily what they're going to do with the money. And I'm pretty sure it'll be great things. But how does that reach people? How else do people who are doing great things for the community on a smaller level get that kind of access to resource? And if you really think about that shit, right? The fact that, so Black Lives Matter started around 2014 to maybe 2012, either Trayvon or Mike Brown. Basically, the fucking organization was built off of Black death, and trying to support the families of those lost, and trying to let Black people know that, you know, they're here for them. How can we support organizations that support Black life, that are here before any of this shit happens, before people are getting murdered? How can you support Black life? What do you do to support Black life if Black Lives Matter?